The gavel struck the bench with a sharp, unforgiving echo. Silence fell over the courtroom, thick and heavy, as Judge Thomas Whitman fixed his gaze on a trembling teenage girl seated in the defendant's chair. Her hands were clasped tightly in her lap, knuckles white, and her eyes darted nervously between the stern faces of the court officers in the gallery. "You're under arrest," the judge declared, his voice cold and absolute. A collective gasp rippled through the room. The teen, barely 16, shook her head in disbelief. "I didn't do anything," she protested, her voice quivering with both fear and defiance. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening." Her name was Lily Carter. She had never imagined that a simple mistake and innocent misunderstanding could snowball into such a terrifying ordeal. Her mind raced, desperately searching for an explanation, a reason, a lifeline. Weight of injustice pressed down on her chest, making each breath a struggle. Sunlight spilled through the tall courtroom windows, illuminating the fine dust in the air, catching on the edge of her trembling hands. Every whispered reaction from the audience, the subtle gasps, the murmur of disbelief added to the suffocating tension. Judge Whitman's eyes were hard, unyielding. But beneath that facade of authority lay a dangerous mix of pride and impatience. He had always believed in swift justice, a reputation built on decisiveness and control. Yet in that moment, he did not pause to consider the fragile innocence before him. He saw a case number, a set of facts on paper, and made a decision without seeing the person. The courtroom buzzed with quiet outrage, whispers curling like smoke through the gallery. Lily's older brother, Marcus Carter, sat in the back, his jaw tight, fists clenched. He had been waiting quietly, respecting the court's formality, but now a low-controlled fire burned in his eyes. The air seemed to thicken, charged with anticipation, as if the very walls of the courthouse were holding their breath. Marcus had earned his reputation the hard way. A decorated law enforcement officer, known for his integrity and unwavering dedication to justice. He had fought battles in the streets, in the courts, and in the community. But he was also a brother, and the sight of Lily, terrified and wrongfully accused, ignited a storm he had no intention of suppressing. As court officers moved to escort Lily away, her fear sharpened into panic. She thought she'd never see him again. She was wrong. Marcus rose from his seat, his presence commanding attention. Every head in the room turned, every whisper died mid-sentence. His voice, calm but authoritative, carried through the chamber. "Judge Whitman," he said steadily, "I believe you've made a grave error." The judge's face flickered, a momentary crack in his composed exterior. He knew Marcus's reputation. He knew the consequences of underestimating him. The courtroom held its breath, the tension rising like a tide, as if the very walls were waiting for the inevitable collision of authority and consequence. Marcus approached slowly, each step deliberate, his eyes never leaving the judge. "This girl is innocent," he continued, his tone unyielding but respectful. "And you, sir, have just violated not only her rights, but the trust of this courtroom." A hush fell over the gallery, punctuated by the soft shuffle of papers and the subtle creak of benches. The moral weight of the moment pressed down, forcing everyone to confront the question, what is justice, and who gets to decide it? Judge Whitman's hand trembled ever so slightly as he adjusted his glasses. The power he wielded felt suddenly fragile, exposed. Marcus's presence was a silent reminder that authority must be tempered with wisdom, that the human element can never be overlooked. For the first time in years, the judge's certainty wavered. Then, in a fluid, almost cinematic motion, Marcus stepped closer, ensuring that no harm would come to his sister, yet making it clear that the courtroom's balance of power had shifted. The officers, sensing the intensity of the moment, paused, their movements deliberate, coordinated, like the tide of an invisible force sweeping through the room. Whispered acknowledgement of Marcus's authority spread quickly. Judge Whitman swallowed hard, the weight of his mistake settling on his shoulders like a stone. "Ah." With a voice finally stripped of pretense, he admitted the error. "Lily Carter, you are free to go," he said, his words trembling, carrying both relief and humiliation. The courtroom erupted, not in chaos, but in the quiet exhale of collective understanding. Gasps, relieved murmurs, and a scattering of applause filled the space. Lily's eyes welled with tears, her relief tangible, her faith in justice momentarily restored. Marcus guided his sister to the exit, his hand firm yet gentle on her shoulder. She glanced back at the judge, a silent lesson conveyed through her wide, wary eyes. Power misused can unravel in an instant, and accountability is the measure of true justice. The sun outside caught the edges of the courthouse steps, dust motes dancing in golden light, each particle a testament to patience, courage, and unwavering family loyalty. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. As Lily and Marcus stepped into the warmth of daylight, the courthouse behind them seemed to breathe, the echoes of a misjudgment fading into memory, replaced by a story of protection, courage, and the enduring power of doing what is right. If Lily and Marcus's story moved you, leave a comment sharing your thoughts. And subscribe for more stories that prove courage, integrity, and justice always find their way home.